breast cancer. And just walk us down the path.
Well, I haven't reviewed in depth the justifications, the benefits and the costs of those alternative procedures. I only know, in general, what we all know about them. I did try to get on the internet and find a little information. For example, what percentage of adult women are actually getting mammography every year? It's a highly politicized issue. Anybody have any idea what it is? It's been politicized. Komen Foundation says it's 80 because they're selling
The American
fundraising.
Cancer Society says 35% of those who are qualified or should get colorectal screening are getting colorectal.
I think it's probably even less than that for colorectal because there's a big impediment there. Just look at that too. and you're talking to men mostly. There's probably a much higher percentage of women that get annual pap smears. But in fact, I wasn't easily able to find a reliable number for any of these things. And it's important. It's one of the variables in my equation that would allow you to estimate exactly how many events we might prevent. These are numbers we ought to be able to get some kind of a handle on. I would think that we ought to be at least as effective in cardiovascular screening as we are with these other procedures because there's more involved in getting a pap smear or a mammogram or a colonoscopy than there is in getting a shaped screen.
Well, there's one quick comparison and contrast is, unlike cancer, where once you detect, even at any level of severity, you have a lifespan of weeks, months, or maybe even years to do something about it. Where in terms of coronary attack or heart attack, we all know at least 40 to 60% because of the first symptom is sudden cardiac death within an hour. You don't have any chance to do what you wanted to do. If there was one choice for screening for my body, I would want to have that screening for a disease, when I'm at the age, for a disease that kills me right away. Now, how can we translate these two numbers?
You're asking me about emotional justifications for convincing people to do this. And I agree with you, the marketing of the strategy is critically important. But I'm not here to talk about the marketing today. I'm here to talk about justifying the proposal in its first place in terms of how many lives can we expect to save, how many dollars would we have to spend to do that. We have to have those basic numbers in place. And if they're not very good numbers to convince other people, then we need to change the proposal to gerrymander the numbers into something that we can sell.
You brought up the shape equation. Would you mind walking us through sure shape you want to write or
not off the top of my head.
No, but we have your numbers actually.
If you got it there, I can write it down for people to see. Yeah.
I think this is the second one. Ernie, do you have the proposal?
Well, I have it inside in my bag.
Okay, let me get your bag.
While he does that, I have a real simple question. If we can assume that, like in the cancer arena, that only a third of the population is actually going to get the test, can't we assume that the real cost is only going to be $1.8 billion, not 5.6?
No. In fact, I'll go through the numbers with you. I'll give you the numbers that I'm estimating here, and we can argue about them. There's nothing sacred about these numbers. I did some research to come up with estimates, but I don't have standard deviations, and I'm perfectly happy to hear other alternatives. Here's the equation that I came up with. Everybody read that? Okay.
It looks like Chinese to me.
N times F times another F times another F times another F times another F, all multiplied together. The N here is the number of prevented atherosclerotic events per year. And it is a function of these 6 numbers.
Defined as hard events, soft events.
No, I'm defining this as hard events. If you want to change that, you can change that. I actually have an estimate for N. The estimate for, I'm sorry, I'm going to calculate the estimate for N. It begins with this number here. That is the total number of events that are occurring per year. Now, I define them in terms of hard events. But if you wanted to change that number and change the definition, that's fine with me.
It seems to me that perhaps we should, because a substantial part of the costs are attributed to soft events like revascularization.
Fine with me. There's no should involved. There's no right answer. It's an operative answer. If you think that the benefits are better derivable and justifiable by including the soft events, but then all these numbers will change in addition. So you've got to also have estimates for the new condition. But that's fine with me. There's no right or wrong here. I'm going to show you what I did, simply because it was the easiest thing to do, not because it was the right thing to do. Okay? First number, how many events are occurring in the population per year? Well, the AHA gives us estimates on that. It's $1,065,000. 565,000 new infarcts every year, and 500,000 new strokes every year. That's all I counted, because that's all AHA counted. The deaths are included in that. These are the new events. Some of them died, some of them didn't, but we want to prevent both the fatals and the non-fatals. So that's an operative number. Okay? Now, would you rather argue that number as I go down, or shall I just go through the list of the
Let's see
first?
the
Yeah, let's go
Go through the list. Okay, fine. The next number, I don't want to misspeak, so I'm going to refer to my notes here. The next number are the fraction of candidates in the baseline population. Now, what is the baseline population upon which this is based?
The number of first events.
The number of first events. What is the baseline population? Well, reasonably, it's the adult population of the country. 80 million people. 78 million to be exact in the 2000 census, but it's more than that now. It's growing every day. It's about 80 million people. There are about 200 million people, 200 million adults in the society.
Attract people with known disease.
No, that's a fine distinction. We don't know the number of people with known disease. No, we really don't. If you look at the statistical abstract of the United States, you can't really find that number. I've done that. I've tried to, and I can't really find it. But people talk about, well, there's 5 million people out there with ischemic heart disease, but I don't know where they get these numbers, because you can't find primary sources for it.
Well, Enhance has the data. You know, every 5 years they do this representative sample from the United States.
12 million according to...
Yeah, 12 to 13 million.
Right, but what's the primary source of the numbers?
Yeah, well,
because anything's published an article that says it.
Yeah, we can-
you can't go back and find
We can talk about
No,
that.
Hands is on the CDC website. The whole database is on the website.
Understood. What I'm saying is, I don't really know the number. If you want to subtract
Yeah, we can subtract
X
that.
million people
That doesn't
from 80 million, it's relatively irrelevant.
See, the way that we started for SHAPE was that 78 million actually from census 2002 minus 12 million. 65 million is people who are not sick by
Well,
cardiovascular.
I could argue there's no reason to subtract them in the first place. The fact that somebody has a previous myocardial infarction doesn't exclude it from having a new event.
Oh, no, it's not, but the total.
Screening.
No, you might still
Yeah,
have
let me-
if the goal is
let's-
to
No.
if the goal is to identify those that are due to have a new
Yeah.
event.
George, let's
We want to hear what you have to say, though, because I think we could fight about numbers between now and 8 a.m. tomorrow.
Agreed.
So let's just hear what you have to say, and, you know, just
Okay,
say it's
yeah,
10
that's
minutes,
fine.
10
Yeah, we can
minutes.
play with it. Yeah,
I
it's-
mean, it's,
That's fine.
We'll fight forever.
Okay, FC, the proportion of people, I based upon a very simple 80-20 rule, and the justification of it is in the writing. 80% of the events occur in 20% of the population, and that rule is generally true no matter what you're looking at. That 80% of X occurs in 20% of Y. Pareto's rule. So FC, therefore, is 0.8. That's what your primary screen is going to be. Your primary screen is going to identify 80% of these events in whatever population. As an example, if you would take 20% of the total population, the 200 million people, through risk factor screening, you could get them down to a population of 40 million people that contain 80% of these events, about 800,000 events. You could make other cutoffs on risk factors or other cutoffs on your primary screen. Your primary screen currently is women over the age of 55, men over the age of 45. That's 80 million people. If I were to then do a risk factor analysis by Framingham and simply select those with above average Framingham risk screens, I've reduced the 80 million people down to 40 million people by definition. And in those 40 million people, I'm going to have half of the 800,000 events or 40,000 events, because they're about equally distributed within that population. So I don't really care what your primary screen is, but the primary screen has to be something along the lines of an 80-20 split of the total population.
Well, this 80-20 expresses the sensitivity of your test?
No, it's Pareto's rule that whatever decision criterion you decide to use on the bigger population, you will choose it to select 80% of the events in 20% of the population.
But I don't know how you go this way, because we say if you have a target population and you subject them to your screening test.
I haven't done your screening test.
Oh, you haven't done it?
Haven't even done it yet.
Okay.
They haven't walked through the door yet. I've just got to get this number down.
So you're saying you are losing by chance 20%.
Well, let me give you the analogy. In acute coronary syndrome, most of the events occur in high-risk individuals.
Yeah.
How many are there in high-risk individuals of the acute coronary syndrome population? 20%.
20%. Yeah.
That's it.
True.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a gestalt, very simple decision rule. It might be anybody with an above average risk factor screen. Or it could be an age and sex cutoff. Okay? The next variable. FS, the fraction that you will screen. You now have this population. How many people are you going to screen? You're going to screen everybody? No. Even if you put the call out, even if insurance paid for it all, you're only going to capture a portion. We agreed that even though everybody's supposed to get mammography, that only maybe 30% do, right? So there's going to be a much smaller number who actually get screened. I'm going to say, optimistically, you get to screen half of the candidates.
And the reason we don't screen the other half is just
They don't
reality.
show up.
Yeah.
You ask them to come in, and they refuse. In the same way, people don't get mammograms and pap smears and colonoscopies. All right? Now, maybe you could increase that. For example, if they had an incentive to come in, if they were told that they would get a discount on their health premium, if they got annual screening, then maybe you get a few more. If their employer said that they can't come back to work unless they get it, you might get a little more. There's ways to build incentives and to change the numbers, but for this purpose, I'm assuming you'll get half. And it's fine with me if you think different. If you do the screen on everybody, the screen here might be, let's say, a coronary artery screen. What percent of them are going to screen positive? what percent are going to be detected? Well, you people tell me you're perfect.
Speaking to the office.
If you're covered, your sensitivity,
Only the people in the server part.
your sensitivity is essentially 100%.
What's the question you're asking?
I'm saying, what percentage of people who have disease will you detect with your screen? 100%. I'm being optimistic. You want to make it 95? I've been told by